In our last video, we demonstrated how to set up the queue settings and how to import a job into the queue in order to get it prepared for printing. In this tutorial, we're going to look at how to access the settings and go over the layout tab. As you can see, we've got Famous Dave's logo here in our queue. It's also located in QB right here. To access the settings for this, we can either double click right here on the image itself, double click here on the item in the queue settings, in the queue, or down here at the settings tab. We can just click it once and it'll open it up. Once this is opened up, we can see the layout here. This is the total space that's available for me in this job. We can see Famous Dave's right here, and we can see all the different settings tabs in the settings setup for the job. The icons up here allow us to do a number of different things. What we're on right now is the selection tool that allows me to either select outside of the item or select the item itself, and I can move it to wherever I want in there. The next one is the hand tool. With the hand tool, I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this so I can demonstrate it. I'll go back to the hand tool. I can grab the entire page and move it around with the hand tool. Then we have the zoom in and zoom out buttons right here, so we can use those. These ones here for rearrange the tiles and realign the tiles, we'll show those a little bit more in depth later on when we get into the nesting and how to nest jobs. The next ones on here are fit to width. When I click on this one, it fits it to the width of the page. And then fit to page is the last one right here. When I click on fit to page, it shows me the whole page on here. And then you can see the undo and the redo, so I can go back and forth in my job for that. But most of the time I'm going to be using the selection tool here. Obviously we have zoom in and zoom out done on then here also. In the layout tab here, you can see that we've got our media settings, and we can tell it a size. We can tell it a specific letter size or a specific roll size. Custom cut, and we'll show that in another video. That's where we can set it up to print a row and then cut a row by changing the page length on it. Or custom roll, which is what we're going to use most of the time. This button right here, the get media width, if I click on this one, and unfortunately I'm not connected to a printer right now, so we can't see it on this, it would communicate to the printer that is currently connected to and determine the width of the material across here that is available for printing, and it would shorten it. But I can also type that in here, and we'll say for this one we're going to be 28 inches across. So I hit 28 and I hit enter, and you can see it makes it down to 28 inches. So I have a graphical interface that shows me exactly how much room I have to work with. So that's what this section here is for. And the scaling, I can change the scaling of my job. I can make it 150% by simply typing in 150, and that makes it bigger right there. Or if I know that I'm going to be putting this on the back of a shirt and it has to be 11 inches across, I can type in 11 there and hit enter, and it'll automatically adjust. It keeps the height and the width proportional for us, and it'll show the scaling here for me also. If I were to click on fit to media size, we won't be able to see exactly what it is here, but we knew it was 28 inches across, and it's just going to fill the entire media width all the way across there. I could also figure out what percentage that was if I wanted to by simply typing in 28 in the width right here, and then I can see it's 332.68%. But for this job we're going to do the back of a t-shirt, so we're going to do 11 inches across and hit enter, and now we've got our item there. I can change the position. I could tell it in this area here where I wanted to. If I wanted it, say, 5 inches in on the media, I can click 5 there and enter it in, and that'll place it there. Also with the pick tool that I'm using right now, I can grab this logo and drag it anywhere I need it to, and you can see it updates over in here. So I'm going to put that back to where it was, or I can also hit center in the media, and that's going to bring it into the center of the printable media there. And there's several times that might be useful. Say if I'm doing a print and cut, then laminate, and then go back and do a different set of cuts where I need to make sure that everything's aligned perfectly in the center in between them. I might use this, and I like center media personally when I'm doing big jobs, so that I can have everything nice and even on the print. Those are the different items in here. Next in there is print properties. I can tell it how many copies I want. Say if I know I'm going to be doing 8 of these, I can just type in 8 and it's going to fill it right up in there for me to get 8. You'll notice in here that if I have all this open space here, I can try down below in my orientation and I can say, well, maybe this one, oh look at that, it's going to orient a little bit better, not waste as much space there, and I can take a look at which one's going to be better for me in all this. I can go right in here into my tile spacing and I can increase the tile spacing a little bit, and that gives me more room in between all of this. So if I'm cutting and trimming all these for weeding and masking or whatever the different types of jobs I may be doing, sometimes it's very advantageous to have a little bit of a bump out room in between these. So I'm going to keep those right where they're at. I want to center them in the media so I make everything nice and even for me. And then the last button down here is mirror. This is, I would use especially if I'm using clear solutions or if I'm using a clear vinyl and I'm going to be applying that in the opposite way so I can view it properly through a window. So when I click on mirror, you'll see that the image simply mirrors itself on there, so it prints in the exact opposite, so that when I do apply that to the inside of a glass window, or I'm doing it clear solutions and I'm flipping it over to heat press onto a shirt, that once the mask is removed on that it is viewed in the correct orientation. So for this job we're not going to do that though. We're not mirroring it. And you notice down here that the R's all changed also for the mirror. Kind of a neat thing. So to sum up the layout tab allows me to get my media size. I can tell it input a width myself if I wanted to, but if I click on get media, that communicates with the printer. I can change my scaling of whatever I'm printing in here. I can either do a percentage or tell it an exact size, or I can tell it to fit to the media size to fill up the entire area. I can change the position by either dragging it around. I can also drag an individual item and change its position, make it go over here or wherever, or I can change it using the position tool in here or center in the media, which the whole job would be centered in the media there. Then the print properties, I can tell it how many I want to print. I can take it down to just 1, or I can take it to 8 like I had before, however many I wanted to. And then I can increase the spacing in between or decrease the spacing, mirror, and change the orientation of all the objects within there. That covers the layout tab. In our next tutorial we're going to be going over the quality tab and discussing all the properties in there.